All right, there's no doubt about it. Floor plan costs are increasing, or frankly, they have increased. With our interest rates, it's been pretty wild to see these days. We've got 7%, 8%. I was just hearing of a friend of mine who purchased a Jetta and paid 9% interest. He's going to pay it down quickly, but that's a pretty rough situation to be in. And we're all in those situations these days. My name's Ian Cruikshank. I'm the CEO of Leadbox. And I'm in that situation too, right? We all have something or someone that we know who's on that variable interest rate right now. So for me, it's a matter of fighting back in a variety of different ways. Sometimes it's cost cutting. When we're talking about a family budget, cost cutting is often the way. But when we're talking about your floor plan costs, there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this problem. I've chatted with a number of our dealer partners lately, and the kind of best idea that I hear of operationally is really that idea to be able to have a maximum amount of time that you're going to leave your cars on the lot. And at that point in time, you can say, okay, it's 45 days or it's 60 days, but at 60 days, we're going to wholesale the vehicles that are getting too old, right? They're going to hit that point. I was on the plane just the other day, in fact, on Thursday night or Thursday afternoon, I was actually heading to Alberta to join the gang in Lake Louise to check out the Western Canadian Dealer Summit. And I had the pleasure of sitting beside a great operator in the Western Canadian market. And he was telling me that they have a 45-day rule, right? Some other folks across the country, similar rules in place to make sure that inventory doesn't get too old. Right, it does make sense, particularly relative to pre-owned vehicles. Get them back into the wholesale market if they're not moving off your lot. Right, it's a little tougher with new vehicles, there's no doubt about it. But there's other ways that you can fight back too. And from our perspective at Leadbox, we talk a lot about helping people fight back with marketing. Helping people fight back by making sure that they're the vehicles that are being chosen for the particular brand in their market. And that's not a function of just spending money in search. Right? Realistically, at the point in time when people are spending dollars in search, it's later in the funnel. They've already figured out more or less where they're going. If you can get them in advance of that point in time, if you can attract people's attention, and we work with a dealer partner just down the street from me, and we spend a lot of time working on display, we work on video. We've been working lately with a new product called High Beam that Leadbox created not too long ago. And these products help people to see your vehicles sooner in their path to purchase, sooner in their buying journey, right? If you can get them to your site, start to build a relationship with your brand earlier in the process, you get the chance to move those cars sooner. The reality is folks are spending too much time thinking, oof, it's getting tight. I got to look at the bottom line. I got to look at cutting expenses. I got to look at reducing costs. If you can reduce your floor plan costs, your floor planning of your vehicles, if you can reduce that, right? And not just by talking to the banker to see if you can get a more favorable rate, but if you can reduce it by moving vehicles more quickly, by being more aggressive in market and moving those vehicles using better advertising, better promotions of those vehicles, making sure you're merchandising and pricing things effectively, right? Making sure your vehicle descriptions are fantastic, making sure the images of your vehicles are better than your neighbor, you're going to have more success. The reality is, you can sit there and cost cut all you want, but Henry Ford's best quote, one that I've loved for many years, is a man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who tries to stop a clock to save time. The reality is it keeps going. It keeps moving on. We just have to fight back a little harder. I'm glad to have seen you at my desk today. You have a great one. We'll see you next time.